Today, what we're going to talk about is how Scott Frost ended back up at UCF. Let me give you a little background before we go into it. Scott Frost, from Nebraska, um, ring of honor type player up there in Nebraska, was highly productive when he played for the Cornhuskers. Then he came down to UCF, had a highly touted career before that in coaching world, more so probably at Oregon. And then once he came down, he brought UCF fast. So the whole brand the whole school ran with a brand of saying we're going to be faster than everyone else. That was in 2017 and 18. He had a ton of success. And even one year while during his tenure there, he went and was able to secure a 13-0 season. Can you believe that? A 13-0 season. And even self-proclaimed the national champions of that year. Now, I was all in with Scott Frost, mainly because I went to UCF, for you guys don't know, class of 2003. And I was able to get drafted out of UCF and go to the NFL. So what he was bringing back to UCF was a whole nother dynamic that honestly, quite frankly, none of us had seen. It was phenomenal. The run was phenomenal. It felt like home. We was winning. And then he had the opportunity after that season to go and coach at his alma mater, which is Nebraska. Huge deal. I don't want to misspeak it, but I'm thinking it's maybe $30 million over the term of the deal. And he took it. Nobody complained. Nobody blamed him. I would have took it, right? And I went to UCF. So he took the deal, and the success there really wasn't there the way it was at UCF. Now, people want to contend on why or what was the problem. I think the main issue between Scott Frost going from UCF to Nebraska was one key denominator, and that was recruits. Everybody knows all of the good players, or some of them. Obviously, you got Texas, California, yada, yada, yada. But most players are going to come from Florida because of the speed. Florida is known for having speed, especially at the skill position. Now, although they were able to get a few players out of South Florida, just it's hard to sustain them. It's cold in Nebraska. It's hard to keep them there. So guys were leaving, coming in and out. And then another thing too, in that conference up there in Nebraska, you need to have some big, huge linemen. So it was a huge culture shock, not only to Scott Frost, but it's the coaching staff and everything, because now they have to recruit an entirely different breed. And for his offense that he likes to run, being fast, quick off the ball, quick decisions, I just don't think it meshed as well as they wanted it to have or would have. Now, I would say this: if UCF or if the Nebraska years could have been similar to UCF, to where they had a lot of skilled players with a ton of speed, I think it would have made a difference up there in Nebraska. But sustaining those type of players in Nebraska, just being reality, being real with it, it's a little difficult. So fast forward today, down at UCF, down in Orlando, I can see why he took it. He's been out of football since 2022 after Nebraska fired him, and he's probably been waiting for the right opportunity. And what opportunity wouldn't be good at UCF? That's like the best one. Location, beautiful weather. You're in Central Florida. For you guys don't know, UCF is in Orlando, it's Central Florida. And when I say Central, that means you're in the central of all the athletes, right? So even at UCF, even if he doesn't get the 5-star players, it's enough players in Orlando area, South Florida, Jacksonville, Leon County, Tallahassee, all of these, Gainesville, it's enough players to where even if the top so-called 5-star guys are going to the P5 schools, it's guys that's going to be right there in your backyard that may be a 3-star that is better than the 5-star. And all he needs is about 12 dogs. If he can get 12 good players, 8 solid O linemen, it'll be a huge difference maker. And I think that's what happened back in 2017. Now, what still is to be determined when Scott Frost comes back is if that same offense of playing fast, getting to the line of scrimmage fast, catching people off guard, if that will still work. It's been a few years. The game has progressed. A lot more teams are playing fast in that nature. Is that style of play kind of gone? Or has Scott Frost been in the lab doing a ton of mental preparation for this next step? And he's been keeping up and he's been in tune on what the game is going on. I think one of the major key factors, though, one of the major key things that I think is going to be helpful for Scott Frost at UCF is the coaches. I will say this: his last tenure at UCF, it seems to me, and I don't know for sure, but it seems to me he may have had a few coaches that, and it is nothing that he did bad. I love Scott Frost. It's nothing he did bad, but he might have had some guys that he was just cool with on his coaching staff that he was friends with, and I think hiring coaches that you're in your circle worked maybe 15 years ago, because even when you was at the higher level schools and you brought on your friends to help coach, it wasn't a big deal because you had primarily all of the good players. So you can have a guy that you just knew you want to look out for him, come coach the tight ends or come coach the running backs, or and it wasn't that big of a deal. I think with the talent level being so saturated now, all of your coaches have to be on game, on point, top of the line coaches. And recruiting. 2024 going to 2025. Let's be real about this recruiting and the NIL deals that's going on right now. It's another level of recruiting right now. I don't even want to call it recruiting. Let's call it free agency. It's really close to what the whole thing NFL free agency is doing. It's in college now. And as a matter of fact, it may be a little worse because NFL free agency, they have a union, NFLPA, and everything is governed, right, by this union, which is called this, and they have a CBA agreement that everybody agreed to. All rookies, if you get drafted, you have to sign a 4-year deal. No, you cannot renegotiate your deal after a year or two, or after you have a good year, or when you don't like the coach, you can't just go. It's just rules associated with it that is in place. And let's be honest, the NCAA and the college football do not have any rules right now. These guys are getting up and leaving before end of the season, before bowl games. It's a lot of stuff going on, which I think it needs a lot of help. But sticking to the subject, Scott Frost back at UCF, I personally think it's a phenomenal move. I think it's going to get people back engaged. I don't think they had to convince him a whole lot. I don't know his contract. But if I had to be a betting man, if I was a betting man, I wouldn't bet that it was a huge contract that they had to throw the bank at him. I think it's a mutually agreeable thing for him to come back. I think the fan base is gonna like it. I think the expectations are high because he went 13-0. So I will ask our UCF fans to just be a little patient with it, give him some time, let him get his offense going, and let him get some guys in there. And one of the main guys I would say that was recruiting in that area when he was there last time was Travis Fisher. Coach Fisher went to UCF, got drafted second round out of UCF, which is phenomenal. This is the highest draft pick outside of Dante Culpepper. I'm sorry about that. He was one of the highest draft picks, played DB there, played 9-10 years in NFL, and was able to come in and really relate to kids and had them wanting to come to UCF. At one time, all 5 of his DBs got a shot to go to the NFL. It's just ridiculous the amount of athletes they had down there and what they was playing with. So if he can get some key notches like that in, say a Travis Fisher and a couple other guys that can go in and recruit and bring some guys in and really start fresh and start fast, I really believe Scott Frost can be very successful at UCF. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to be right there. I'm getting season tickets you know what? Let me be honest. I probably won't get season tickets because I don't stay in Orlando, but I will join the Knights Club or the Varsity Knights or whatever it is. I'm joining. I want to donate some money. I just want to come back. I want to have a good time. It's one thing if Scott Frost didn't do anything else, he made every single person that ever played there feel welcome into that building. And I think that was the connection that was needed between the alumni for once. This is off the scope, but anybody that went to UCF or a part of UCF, you would notice, especially if you played at UCF, it was for once that the former players felt a part of the new system in the new era. And guess what? Everybody came together. We was one big family, UCF family, right? We had the former players, you had the new players, you had the players in the NFL at the moment. Everything, everything was good. Everybody respected each other. I'm gonna be honest, that kind of dissipated once Scott Frost left. I don't know why, but I think he's gonna bring another level of value to this that we can all appreciate. We're gonna be filling up them stands. It's gonna be fun again. It's gonna be exciting, and I just can't wait. I want to hear y'all thoughts. Leave some comments. Let me know. I'll hop back on here live. It don't matter. Let's take some questions in, and I just think UCF is back, man. So congrats to Scott Frost. Excited to see what's coming up. Can't wait to see what's coming up. And I can't wait to get back down there to UCF to some games. I haven't been in maybe 4 or 5 years, which is crazy, But either way, we're gonna look toward the future. Let's get another 13-0 season. I'm excited to be rooting for my team, and let's go.